This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
We're set, ready to go. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Feeling great, man. Want to get the season started already because I feel like the camp storylines, I'm bored of them already. Let's get to the season.
Well, because they don't actually allow you to really talk about what's going on because you don't get to see it. So at least it would be a little bit more entertaining if you're able to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Did you hear anything? Did they add Stickum to the receiver's hands? What's going on in practice?
They need Stickum, crazy glue. They need all kinds of stuff, man. This is just putting more pressure on Tyler Van Dyke. I mean, he's going to have to be really, really perfect with everything that he does. The good news is you have 2 games to get the, get the dust off of you, so to speak, right, with those receivers. And we'll see. We'll see how they turn out. Yeah, I think it's an area to be worried about. I mean, we said it in the preseason before camp started. Hey, somebody has to emerge, and I don't know that's happened yet.
That's bad. That's really, really bad. And so I hope the tight ends and the running backs are going to need to catch some passes out of the backfield. I hope they're prepared because you talked about putting pressure on Tyler. Well, think about it. At Oregon, he had a running quarterback in Justin Herbert that, Justin Herbert can pass the hell out of the ball, but he could run like a deer for his size. But can Tyler scramble and can get you a couple yards? Yes. But is he a running quarterback? No, that's actually not really his game, where actually Justin is a good enough athlete that he can do both. You know what I mean? And do it effectively. That's not really his game, and you don't want to put him out there to take some extra hits because the kid's trying to keep some drives alive.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Josh Gaddis really, maintenance is going to be a word here that's very important with this Hurricanes offense. When they play elite teams, I think certainly a guy like Jalen Knighton, right, who you feature in the passing game a whole lot. Last year, I don't know if now with the injuries to Don Chaney Jr. and Trevante Citizen, where maybe you just make him the primary ball carrier, right? And you don't use him as much in the passing game. You use a Henry Parrish. You use, Brashard Smith on jet sweeps to kind of supplement what you lose in terms of, handoffs. They're going to have to be creative in some way here with the receivers not being consistent enough and the running backs being, banged up, so to speak. So you're right. Tight ends are going to have to be good and healthy. And that's something they're not right now. I mean, Will Mallory has been held out of all these scrimmages because he had the shoulder injury in the spring. He had the minor procedure. So they're being protective of him. They're wrapping some of these guys up in bowl tape and trying to make sure that they're ready for the season.
Do you think the fan base is a little too hyped and maybe not realistic about
Are we talking about the last 20 years or just the last 2 weeks?
I'm just talking about the crystal hype.
Yeah.
And while I love that Mario's taken over, I love the staff he has, but it's kind of like, it's kind of the Skylar Thompson shit that's going on now. We got crazy ass fans that think, oh no, you can just trade Teddy right now or cut him, make him number 2. You got another level of fan base who are saying, no, just make him the starter, forget Tua. And it's like, what are you people watching? Like they're playing backups against this kid. He's terrific. I like him, but he's a developmental player that you like. He's nowhere near NFL. He hasn't seen NFL defenses. He hasn't seen number 1 corners. He has no idea what to expect with that kind of stuff. And some people, so it's an unrealistic approach already to Skylar Thompson.
Right.
Okay. And so Mario Cristobal, who's already a proven player and a proven coach, and then all the hype, and then everything what's it called? The booster's doing. What's his name?
John Ruiz, right?
Ruiz is doing, and all the other folks that are doing NILs, and it's gotten to a point where it's so hyped up that I get a feeling that there's a lot of these Canes fans that are expecting the team to be great right away and do just like Skylar Thompson. This team is still green. This team is still not ready. And it's not fair to put those kind of expectations on Mario Yet I feel like those expectations are there for a lot of Canes fans.
I mean, there's still guys in this roster that shouldn't be here. And look, they did a good job with the transfer portal, bringing in help, especially on the defensive line. But you saw last week a kid like Marcus Clark, right, who started 4 games last year. He hit the transfer portal. You've seen other guys before camp sort of exiting. He's not done cleaning out this roster. Like, this is far from the finished product. And so I think Miami fans, what they need to do is realize this is just the beginning, right? And while you can be excited that the university is spending a lot of money and that you've got John Ruiz, who's putting a lot of money towards NIL, and some other people that are putting more money towards NIL, those are all great things to be excited about. You also have to be realistic and look at this roster and say, okay, where's, Andre Johnson? Where's Reggie Wayne? Where's where are the guys that are gonna, the playmakers at that receiver position that are gonna win you a national championship? Where are the linebackers?
Stars that took you to the special
Right.
levels back in the day. There's not enough of those guys, dude. Come on.
And the one thing I would say that everybody needs to keep in mind is there is a clear separation between the 4 or 5 elite programs who really have a chance to win the national title every year than the teams who fill out the top 25, right? Like, to me, if you've been paying attention to college football at all for the last 10 years, I mean, it's the same teams that are making the playoffs every year. It's not, there's not a whole lot of variety with that. So, and if you
this year, actually, this past year was the first one in a while with Cincinnati. That's
right.
It.
And Michigan, right? Who is supposed to be good, right? Michigan and Miami and all these
Every
blue
year.
bloods are supposed to be that good, right? They're supposed to finally get there. But my point is, like, it took Jim Harbaugh how long to get to the playoff, right? And he's at Michigan, right? And they're supposed to always have great players at Michigan. It's about talent. It really is about talent. And then it's about coaching and development after that. And Miami's talent is okay, right? I'm sitting here looking at their roster. They've got 40 blue chip players on their 85-man rosters. 47% of the roster are 4- and 5-star players that are supposedly big-time high school kids that come to the program. Well, go and look at Clemson. Clemson's got 51, and they've got 12 5-star kids. I know in the end, I know you're not necessarily a believer in all that, but the best of the best usually pan out. Usually, the best 50 kids every year are usually the best 50 kids in college football eventually, right? You might have some to bleed out. Miami has 2 5-star recruits on this roster. Mario's just getting started with getting the elite kids. So, and yes, do they have to coach better? Absolutely. I think there's no doubt we can say that, with Kevin Steele and Josh Gaddis, who just won the Broyles Award, Jamil Adai, who won a national championship at Georgia, you've upgraded the coaching staff. So everything is in place, but the change doesn't happen overnight. And I still look at this roster and say, man, could they win the division this year? Yes. But it's no slam dunk. I think Pittsburgh could beat them at the end of the year. And I think even if Miami gets to the ACC title game, if Clemson's quarterback is for real, they still have the best team. So whoever that turns out to be, whether it's DJ Uiagalelei or the freshman Cade Klubnik, they have 2 5-star elite quarterbacks there to pick from. One of them, I'm sure, will get the job done.
Hell, man, I remember one year that the Canes had a great year with Gino, and Gino took a effing beating, just an absolute beating that whole year.
Yeah,
because his line
was banged up.
Yeah, his line wasn't that good, and that some bitch hung in there. And that, to me, that's the Canes quarterback that has shown me the most toughness in the pocket that I've ever seen, because I don't think I ever saw a dude take a beating like he did, unless you're like a bad quarterback that you were taking a beating because you didn't read right. This had nothing to do with it. This dude was waiting for the play to break, and he had no choice to wait until he let it go. And there were so many times that after letting it fly, Gino just got bamboozled, bro. And those teams are pretty good.
Yeah. And he had receivers that could make plays for him.
Receivers,
he had running backs. I mean, they had full arsenals, and those were the teams
they were good. And yet he still took a beating. So imagine these teams aren't anywhere near that team.
Right.
Okay.
That's That's the problem. Oh, is that the same uniforms come out, right? And so people just assume, oh, the coach is upgraded. This is the uniform's going to magically make these guys better. No, it really comes down to talent and development. And now is when you've got these coaches, and they've just started working with these kids. They've just started. I mean, they've had 8 months.
You can be
So
Magic Benton or you can be Santana Moss.
right,
That's the way it is, dude. You can be Kyle Wright or you can be Van Dyke. It's the way it is, and they all come in with the same hype, but you find out what's real and what's Memorex too at the same time, and they've had a lot of stuff that's Memorex and it's not real, and that's been their problem right now.
yeah,
That's
and
why I worry about that. I worry about people overhyping and over expecting just way too much for a guy that just took over the damn program, and that's just wrong, dude.
Well, I mean, listen, we'll learn a lot about this team at Texas A&M. These first 2 games, it could only feed that hype, right? Because you got Bethune-Cookman and Southern Miss, 2 games that you should go out on paper and dominate both of them. So I think initially there's going to be a lot of excitement, but September 17th will be the true litmus test, and then after that, the last 2 games of the season, I would expect that those are not going to be easy games for Miami. So 9 wins, 10 wins, I think that they're capable of it. They're capable. Is that a guarantee? Is that a slam dunk? No. Especially when you have certain positions already that there are little red flags, right? Like you're going in, already running back, red flag, 3 healthy guys. Receiver, Xavier Restrepo might be the only guy you can depend on. Tight end, Will Mallory, already banged up with a shoulder, right? He hasn't been out there in camp regularly. So I think the defense will be better. I think that's the positive. I think the defense is going to be a lot better. That was a big problem last year, tackling and creating pressure. I think the defensive line is much improved. Secondary, I would think, is much improved as well. That's what Coach Kevin Steele has been saying, the coordinator. He thought secondary is where they made the biggest strides. So they'll be better on that side of the ball. And ultimately, defense is what's going to set them apart, if they're ever going to get back to being championship grade again, because there are so many tremendous athletes in this area on the defensive side of the ball year in and year out, between safeties and pass rushers, etc. I think that's, to me, I was talking about this today with somebody else, one of the other beat reporters. To me, Mario has 2 challenges that are going to tell us whether or not he's going to be successful here. One, can Kevin Steele become a Brent Venables? In other words, can he team up and sort of handle that one side of the ball? Because that's going to be tough. Mario went through a lot of coaches when he was at Oregon. And yet you look at some of these other successful programs like Clemson, right? Well, what did they have when Dabo Swinney was winning the conference championship every year? They had an unbelievable DC in Brent Venables. And
we were all shocked he stayed there that long, actually.
Right.
Like, he finally left, and it's like, yo, dude, like, you have no aspirations, I guess. You're like, fine, you've reached your pinnacle, I guess, because that's what it seemed like with Venables, that like he was happy being a defensive coordinator. And hey, listen, there are some coaches that just love being a coordinator instead. They don't want to really be the head coach. I've seen those kind of coaches before that they're happy. Mel Phillips, for many years, was a defensive backs coach. He was very happy being a defensive backs coach. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those deals. It happens.
So that to me is number one. We'll see how many of these guys are retained, how many of them leave, and how much trouble that causes, especially with recruits. That'll be number one. And then I would say the second one is winning over the South Florida elite recruits. And that hasn't happened yet. It's hard to come in here right away and win over the best players in this town when the program has sucked essentially for 2 decades. A lot of the best kids want to go to Ohio State and Alabama still, and they still want to go away to Georgia. And so, he's done a good job nationally recruiting, but at some point you're going to need your own backyard. You're going to need the best players. And so, the 2 kids in the 2024 class from Chaminade, the ones that I've mentioned before, JoJo Trader and Jeremiah Smith, they're 2 5-star elite superstar kids. Next year, it's going to be really important for Mario to land them, because if he gets them, then I feel like the tide has started to change. But to me, that's what I look at. Coaching, who stays with him here after the season? Can he find that Brent Venables guy to handle the defense, to partner with for the next decade? And then winning in his own backyard for the elite national recruits. Those things change, then I think Miami can be a championship program.
Well, a story you broke here last week was Don Chaney Talk to us a
Yep.
little bit about that injury and what's going on with the young man.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think he's going to be out for a little while. I think there's some hope that he could come back at some point this season. I don't think it's completely determined that he's done for the year or anything like that. I think, the hope from some people that I spoke to was that, if he can heal and then get back out on the field, he's going to certainly try to do that. He's not going to, just sort of toss the season to the wind and say, forget it, I'm redshirting. So he will try. I think we'll have to see how his body heals from the hit that he took. I don't want to speculate on the injury because I've heard two different things and I don't know which one is accurate, but it's like I said on the show last week, it's not the same knee. It's not a knee injury. So that's good news. The question is, how long will he be out? I would suspect he will not be ready for the start of the season, certainly, maybe mid-season at best, best case scenario. But again, it's all about, can he come back and trust his body? I mean, the kid's been through the ringer here mentally, right? I mean, you miss all of last year, basically 10 games. You come back, you're on the cusp of a new season. And again, you got to go and rehab and put your body through it all. So hopefully for him, he's dealt with a lot of injuries in his career. Hopefully for him, he's able to come back. But for now, I would say I would remain cautiously optimistic he'll be back at some point this season.
I love this one. Cap for Life says, I'm just curious why Mario Cristobal never drafted to his little brother and why the little brother went to Maryland and not Oregon or Alabama. Well, maybe because he's a junior, and that was like 4 years ago when you had to recruit him. Was
Right.
he here in Miami 4 years ago? And maybe 4 years ago, you had a guy named Herbert also. I don't know, dude. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you might want to do your homework, Cap for Life, before you ask a question. Anyway, what are you working on there at the Athletic so folks can check you out, my brother? And maybe Cap for Life can read so he can actually get educated. All right, go ahead.
Well, I put out my top player list for the start of the season here after coming off of camp, sort of a camp wrap up as far as the pecking order of who the most important players / important units are. So I that's on the website now. Working on a couple different projects. We just put out a roundtable over the weekend previewing the ACC. I caught up with the barber, Kane's barber, a couple weeks ago. That feature story will come out at some point. I mean,
you didn't get a cut. I could tell you didn't get a cut, but go ahead.
No, he did. He just didn't cut the top, man. I got this thing growing long on me here now on the top, but he did the sides. He shaved the sides. Now I got to go back. I mean, that's the thing. And I don't have much. Oh, it's kind of hiding. It's kind of like just covering up whatever I can cover up what's left there.
I'll be there soon, bro. I'll be there soon. I'm surprised I haven't gotten there yet, but I'll be there soon. Although the hat's helping me fight it off because I'm actually growing back my yarmulke, which is really, really cool.
There you go.
I was developing the natural yarmulke that all of us develop. We all are from the Jewish culture, really, in a way, because we all have the natural yarmulke. That's kind of where it comes out, right? So, so we can we have an in there. You know what I mean? So, but mine's disappearing, which is really good.
All my buddies keep telling me, just shave your head, bro. It's not working anymore. The comb over is not working anymore. Just shave your head. I told them when I turn 50, I'll shave my head. Bruce Willis made it work for a long time. I got to be able to do the same thing. So,
well, how much you got till 50?
6 more years.
Okay, right there you go.
Hang on to it till then.
6 more years and you're going bald. You won't go bald if you have still the same hair. You're going to hang on to it. We're all going to hang on to what we have for as long as we. Very few of us have the balls of Steve Goldstein. Okay, Goldie just didn't mess around when it first showed up. He said, "That's it. I'm going, bro." And
gone.
he, now he styles it.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing. The rest of us are afraid because I know I'm going to look like freaking E.T. So I don't want to go bald. See. Goldie's got a terrific dome, so it looks terrific. I saw him today. It was glistening in the sun and all that, But the rest of us, we worry because we look like, we think like we have E.T.'s head. Mm-hmm. And then, all of us, wow, dude, your head's all deformed. What the hell's wrong with you? Yeah, I got to wear a hat, That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I've got a lot of money invested in hats. I know that's going to be part of my future, brother. So
there you go. Just added a new one. There you go. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Catch him twice a week here doing his thing with our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up later in the week.
all right, brother. Take care.
You got it. There you go. The great Manny Navarro. Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.